Welcome, 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 delightful listeners, to another riveting episode of the Daily Dose of Delight podcast.
And when we say delight, we mean it in the broadest sense of the word, because today we're diving straight into a fascinating, if jarring, juxtaposition.
That's right. We're going from the very serious and concerning geopolitical discussions surrounding a proposed humanitarian city in Gaza to, well, let's just say we're covering the breadth of human experience, promising both serious analysis and spirited discussion, all designed to keep you hooked from start to finish. So buckle up. You won't want to miss a single moment.
From our studio, we're ready to unpack complex headlines and significant global moments, because staying informed, whether on humanitarian crises or other compelling events, is, in itself, a form of delight.
Let's jump right into our first segment, the Gaza humanitarian city controversy. Michael, this topic has been dominating headlines, and for good reason.
Absolutely, Jenny. The discussion centers around Israel's proposal for a humanitarian city in Gaza, a concept championed by Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz. This initiative envisions a designated zone initially planned for the ruins of Rafah, intended to house hundreds of thousands of displaced Palestinians, with the potential to eventually accommodate the entire 2.1 million pre-war population of Gaza.
The stated purpose is to provide a safe haven for Gazan civilians while aiming to weaken Hamas's control. What's more, the proposal suggests this zone would be managed by international forces, not Israeli ones. Sounds like a solution on the surface, right?
Well, that's where the delight of deep analysis comes in, Jenny, because a critical examination reveals a significant disparity between stated intent and practical reality. Israeli officials themselves have acknowledged there's no real plan for this humanitarian city. Planning is in a very initial phase, with military officials explicitly denying any policy of forced displacement. In fact, the military has reportedly resisted the plan due to legal and logistical challenges, with some sources even fearing it could jeopardize ongoing Gaza hostage ceasefire negotiations.
So the public announcement might be more of a strategic maneuver, either to pressure Hamas or to appease certain far-right coalition partners within the Israeli government. It's a complex, possibly multifaceted motivation behind floating such a controversial idea.
And the term humanitarian city itself has been met with severe condemnation. Former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert, for instance, explicitly warned that the planned humanitarian city in Gaza would be nothing short of a concentration camp.
That's incredibly strong language.
It is, and it's echoed by an Israeli human rights lawyer who reportedly denounced the proposal as an operational plan for a crime against humanity. These criticisms are rooted in concerns that once inside this zone, Palestinians might be confined, not permitted to leave, but instead encouraged to voluntarily emigrate to other unspecified countries. That raises profound alarms about potential confinement and forced expulsion.
Even within the Israeli military, the plan has reportedly been deemed unworkable and described as having more holes in it than cheese by figures like Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir.
The consistent and severe terminology, including concentration camp, crime against humanity, and ethnic cleansing terminal, employed by a range of critics, including former high-ranking Israeli officials and human rights lawyers, transcends mere policy disagreement. It points to a profound and widespread perception that the proposal, regardless of its official humanitarian branding, is fundamentally designed for long-term confinement, control, and potentially the permanent alteration of Gaza's demographics through forced displacement or expulsion. Such actions, if realized, would constitute grave violations of international law.
And this proposed humanitarian city is set against the backdrop of an already catastrophic humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip. The numbers are truly staggering.
They are, Jenny. Over 86% of the Gaza Strip is now designated as Israel militarized zones or areas under displacement orders, effectively confining the population to ever-shrinking spaces. The UN estimates that over 737,000 people have been displaced yet again since the breakdown of the ceasefire in mid-March, adding to the staggering 1.9 million individuals, approximately 90% of Gaza's pre-war population, who have already experienced multiple displacements since October 2023.
The human toll is immense. According to the Gaza Ministry of Health, as reported by OCHA, at least 58,573 Palestinians have reportedly been killed and 139,607 have been injured since October 7, 2023. And a particularly harrowing statistic, of the identified fatalities as of July 15, 17,921 were children, leading the UN Secretary General to describe Gaza as a graveyard for children.
The danger extends even to the most basic act of survival. Since late May, more than 850 people have been killed and injured while attempting to access food supplies at militarized distribution points. Reports also detail attacks on schools, sheltering displaced individuals, and even on humanitarian workers. Over 330 UNRWA staff have been confirmed killed, and organizations like the International Committee of the Red Cross and Human Appeal have reported staff deaths and attacks on coordinated rescue missions.
The crisis encompasses every fundamental necessity for life. Famine remains a persistent and growing risk, with families often subsisting on a single, nutritionally poor meal a day, and some individuals enduring days without any food at all. Tragically, there have been documented cases of infants as young as 4 and 7 months old dying from severe malnutrition, with health officials in Gaza stating that 66 children have died of malnutrition since the war began.
Both Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch have gathered evidence indicating Israel's continued use of starvation as a weapon of war. The water and sanitation infrastructure has largely collapsed, forcing people to resort to drinking from puddles, leading to a surge in waterborne diseases such as acute watery diarrhea.
And the healthcare system is on the brink of total collapse. Nearly all public hospitals are either shut down or severely damaged, and the few remaining operational facilities are overwhelmed and facing dangerous shortages of essential items, including fuel and even body bags.
UNRWA has reported being denied entry for humanitarian aid, including medicines and medical supplies, for over 4 months, specifically since March 2, 2025. This systematic destruction of the health system, coupled with severe restrictions on aid, is creating what Doctors Without Borders describes as impossible conditions of life for Palestinians in Gaza.
This paints a grim picture.
Indeed, the dire situation has elicited strong condemnations from numerous international bodies. The United Nations has consistently reiterated its firm opposition to any plan involving the forced displacement of civilians in Gaza. Human Rights Watch has explicitly stated that Israel's actions, including the deliberate deprivation of food and water, constitute atrocity crimes, acts of genocide, and mounting evidence of genocidal intent. Doctors Without Borders has reported clear signs of ethnic cleansing and has concluded that genocide is taking place in Gaza based on their first-hand observations.
It's a critical shift towards prosecuting alleged atrocities on an international stage. Listeners, we urge you to stay informed on these critical global issues. If you want to keep getting comprehensive analysis like this, please subscribe to the Daily Dose of Delight podcast wherever you get your podcasts and hit that notification bell. You won't regret it.
Listeners, we've covered a lot today, from the profound human stories unfolding in Gaza, focusing on the critical humanitarian situation and its legal ramifications. And that in itself is a form of delight. Wouldn't you agree, Jenny?
Absolutely, Michael. Because delight isn't just about superficial happiness. It emerges from the intellectual engagement, understanding, and connection gained by exploring a wide spectrum of global events, even those that are challenging or somber.
Before we go, a quick reminder to subscribe to the Daily Dose of Delight podcast and activate those notifications. That way, you'll never miss an episode of our comprehensive analysis.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Daily Dose of Delight podcast. It's been a pleasure sharing these insights with you.
We truly appreciate you staying connected with us. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and find your own dose of delight in the world around you.
Bye for now.
See you next episode.